Hi, I'm Mark, this is Mark's Tech Vlogs on YouTube, and today I'm going to bring you guys a review of the Switchbot K10 Plus Mini Robot Vacuum Cleaner. Now, for those who've been on this channel for a while, you will know that I'm a big fan of Switchbot. And Switchbot makes some really good smart home tech. And this is especially true for products in the retrofit category. So their smart curtain rods and their smart blind adapters are just fantastic, and they work really well, and they are things that I use every single day. Now, when Switchbot announced the K10 Plus, I was really excited to get my hands on one, and Switchbot have very kindly sent me one to review. Now, it's worth saying at the start of this video that this is not to be confused with the S10. Now, the S10 is the bigger, smarter brother of the K10 Plus, and it's currently available on Kickstarter. If you're interested in the S10, I have made an overview video about that, but I've not tried it yet. Now, the K10 Plus was released in Europe and the UK about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and it costs around £499, although there's quite regularly offers on. One of those offers is I have a 10% voucher for Switchbot's website, which is below, and that will bring the price down to about $450 for you. In the last few weeks, however, with things like Black Friday, I have noticed it come down as low as $399. In the box, you get the robot vacuum itself, you get the charging station, which is also where it empties, and then you get a few accessories. This includes a spare brush, a spare filter, a spare bag, and then also wipes used for the mopping function. That means in total, you get 2 dust bags with it. Now, when you do need things, Switchbot currently sell a pack for about £59, and this includes a lot of things. So this will give you a main brush, 2 edge brushes, 5 filters, 5 dust bags, and some mopping cloths. Switchbot have also told me that those dust bags will be available to buy separately soon. So let's talk about the estimated life of those accessories, because actually this is something you're going to want to keep in mind if you're buying one of these vacuum cleaners. And actually there is a handy usage section in the app. So the app tells you that the filters will get around 150 hours of life. The side brush gets 200 hours, the main roller brush has 300 hours, and then the bag should be replaced every 70 days or when full. This basically means everything you get in the box with this robot vacuum cleaner should last you around a year. This is with the exception of those dust bags, which I'm very glad Switchbot are going to be selling separately soon. And one of the things I really like is that you can monitor the usage of these within the app. However, if you're purchasing one of these, it is just worth noting that you might need to spend some money once a year. Now, of course, I haven't used it long enough in the last couple of weeks to see what happens when one of those expires, but I doubt it's just going to stop working. With things like filters, obviously the more clogged up a filter is, the less efficient a vacuum cleaner is. This is the same for any vacuum cleaner. So let's talk about specification. Firstly, this is the smallest robot vacuum cleaner you can buy, and it is 248mm long and wide, and then just 92mm tall. This means it can get into areas that normal robot vacuum cleaners just can't. And while Switchbot have geared this towards smaller homes and flats, actually it's a great all-round vacuum cleaner for getting into small spaces. It also has some built-in silent tech and can be as quiet as 48 decibels. Now, this depends on the suction mode that you have it on, and it's also worth saying that when it empties itself back into the docking station, that is quite loud. When it comes to suction power, it has 2500 PA. This is slightly less than other robot vacuums around the same price. However, it does do a really good job. And what I found in using this for kind of 2 to 3 weeks now is that it does just suck everything up that I need it to, and occasionally something I don't want it to. And of course, you can adjust those suction levels if you want to, so you're going to want a higher suction level if it's on a carpet rather than a vinyl floor. When it comes to navigation, it has built-in LiDAR navigation. This is used for mapping your rooms. This is also what it uses to know where the charging station is, and also to know where it picked up when it finishes cleaning or if it needs to stop halfway through to charge itself. These maps are visible in the app, and you can also set no-go areas. Of course, it has built-in detection as well, so it doesn't do things like fall down the stairs. I've tested this and it doesn't fall down the stairs. It's also worth noting that it can climb steps up to 2 centimeters tall. And it's got a really interesting approach to when it gets stuck on things, because it does kind of pull itself back and adjust a bit more and try again. It doesn't just give up. This little vacuum is very persistent when it comes to bumps that it's struggling with. And then it's also compatible with a ton of third-party services. This includes IFTTT, Samsung SmartThings, Amazon and Google voice assistants, and then also Siri shortcuts. Switchbot have also said that Matter support will be coming in the future. And actually, part of the reason Matter support isn't there on launch is because actually at the moment Matter doesn't support robot vacuum cleaners. This is coming in Matter 1.2, which is coming out next year. And then of course you can tie it into your other Switchbot devices. So for example, you could set a scene for when a motion detector detects something, it could start cleaning. You could even tie it into times of day like sunrise or sunset, or when a temperature is a certain level in your house. I mean, I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but it's possible. And then you can just set schedules based on time of day and particular days. So let's talk about setup. So on this channel there is a whole unboxing and setup video, so I'm not going to go into it in huge depth. However, setup is as simple as plugging in the dock, docking the vacuum, and then opening the Switchbot app and following the instructions. Once set up, you leave it to carry out its first clean. And this is when it creates that initial map as well. And setup, as with all Switchbot devices, is just really easy. They have all the stages that you need in the app, and it's just a nice easy process to follow. So let's talk about using it, because I've been using this for kind of 2 to 3 weeks now. And initially what that first clean does is it goes around your house and maps the room. If you have the app open at the same time, you can kind of see that map come together. If you have multiple rooms in your house but it can go between at the same time, it will try and note on the map where those different rooms end and begin. It sort of seems to take an educational guess with this, and so it's not 100% accurate for my house, but it's an interesting feature to see. What I recommend doing for that first clean is just making sure there is no clutter on the floor. So for me, it meant moving the cat food bowls out of the way just so it could cover the whole area. Once that's done, you can put your things back and mark no-go zones where you want to. So I've got a no-go zone where the cat food bowl is, so it doesn't knock that all over the place. Likewise, it also seemed to struggle with the back doormat, which is quite thick and bushy, and so I marked a no-go area there as well. And really, when it's done its first map, this is probably when you want to decide how you're going to use this. And the best way to talk about this is to talk about how the app works. So when you first open the app, you can see the robot vacuum, and from there you can easily click it to start cleaning. Tapping it will give you easy options to send it home and to start cleaning, but the More button is where the other preferences come in. Here you can view your current map, you can set suction levels, and you can easily send it back to recharge. You can also view saved maps because you can name and save your maps, which is great if you want to move the cleaner between different rooms. You can then also select the currently active map. And the option to have multiple floor plans is really useful. Although for me, because it can access the whole downstairs of my house, I've decided the best way to use it is just to let it do that, and I'll deal with upstairs. That More button at the bottom is also where you can edit your map, see a cleaning report and accessory usage life. You can turn on RC mode if you want to drive it around yourself and have a bit of fun. You can use a find a robot function to try and track down where it is in your house, and this will cause it to make a noise, and you can also change the voice package here. Most usefully, it's also here you can set regular schedules, and you can set certain days, areas and suction levels to go with these schedules. I've had one that makes it clean the house at 9 o'clock every morning, and it just works every time without fail. That cog in the top right lets you go into a few extra options as well. This lets you set things like do not disturb times, adjust the speaker volume of a vacuum, and change some other settings. This includes toggling on carpet mode. This will set the suction to max. And this is worth noting because it doesn't have an automatic carpet detection. This means if perhaps the floor of your house has a mix of carpet and vinyl, or tiles or whatever, you're probably going to want to have it on max suction mode all the time. It's also here you can set up third-party apps. For example, I've created a Siri shortcut so I can just ask Siri to start cleaning. For most people, I think you'll probably just use a schedule for certain times of the day and let it do its thing. And really that's what I've done when I haven't been playing around with other features for this review. And for the last 2 weeks, every morning it's took itself out, it's vacuumed around, and it's took itself home again. And then when it's took itself home, it empties itself, and this just works. And one of the things I really like about the size of this vacuum is that it gets into places that I couldn't with a vacuum. So it can get under one of my sofas, it can get under a unit, it can get into these tiny little gaps that I'd struggle with a normal vacuum. And it just seems to pick up a whole variety of stuff really well. And the best illustration of this is the downstairs of my house, which is completely covered in vinyl flooring. And this vinyl flooring gets pretty messy because I've got a cat and a litter tray and she thinks she's a rabbit, so she throws it everywhere. I have a log fire, so bits of kind of ash and wood kind of get scattered around, and this vacuum cleans it all up. It doesn't just spread it around, it goes around and it sucks it all up, and the downstairs is noticeably cleaner. And maybe that meant I just needed to hoover more often, but I am really impressed with this. And whilst I have primarily used it on vinyl flooring, I have took it to my upstairs where there's carpet to test it out there as well, and it works really well on carpet as well. It's worth noting that if you've got a thicker pile carpet, I think it will probably struggle, but for kind of normal slim pile carpet, it's perfectly fine. The other feature we should talk about is the mopping mode. And this is triggered when you attach the optional mopping accessory to the device. And to do this, you basically attach one of the included wet wipes over this mopping plate and then clip it on, and it detects that the mopping plate is on and goes into mopping mode. And this is where you need to remember that this is primarily a robot vacuum cleaner and not a mop. This has no water tank, it's basically just taking a wet wipe around your floor. And it doesn't have carpet detection, so it will take the wet wipe everywhere if you've got a mix of carpet and vinyl. This means you might want a separate map with no-go zones if you are going to use that mopping mode. And really, I think this is a nice add-on, but I certainly wouldn't call it a mopping mode. And if you want a vacuum that can genuinely do mopping, I think you need to look at the Switchbot S10. And really, beyond testing that for this review, I'm not going to use some mopping mode. So let's go back to vacuuming and summarise this review. And as you probably guessed throughout this review, this tiny K10 Plus is really impressive. It vacuums in a way that makes sense, you can see the progress across the app if you want to, and it also navigates slopes and bumps really well. It has a little bumper on the front which doesn't damage your furniture when it moves into it, and it knows that it then needs to adjust itself. The only two things I found that it struggled with is with shoelaces and deep pile rugs. And this is something every single robot vacuum and indeed vacuum struggles with. And if it does get itself stuck on a shoelace or on a rug, it'll send you a notification and you can go rescue it. This has mostly just taught me I need to pick my shoes up off the floor. The only downside is that mopping mode that is not a mopping mode, but I don't think you're going to be buying this for the mopping features. And to be honest, I was expecting to be impressed by this from Switchbot, and I have been impressed. I have genuinely noticed a cleaner house as a result of having this product, and it's great. I love the spaces it can get into, I love the size of it, and it just works well. And if you've been on this channel for a while, you know that I have used other robot vacuums in the past, and this is easily the best one I've ever used. And whilst I think most people are going to use it on a schedule kind of once or twice a day, I do think the option of third-party integration is great as well. So being able to ask your favourite voice assistant to start vacuuming is so good to have. And of course, when Matter support comes, it will get even better. And the other thing this does do is get me really excited for the S10, because I can't wait to see how that performs when this performs so well. If you do want to pick one up, I've put links below to the product on Amazon and on Switchbot's website. There's a voucher code that you can use on the Switchbot website that will save you 10%, and that's down below as well. Both of those are affiliate links, which means if you do make a purchase through those links, I will get a very small part of what you spend. That just helps me keep making videos for you guys, because this channel is something I do in my spare time and not something I get paid for. If you've got any questions, do stick them below and I'll answer those for you guys, because this is something I'm still using. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys again soon.